Welcome to the Weather Gurus podcast for Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. Of course, we're going to look at the National Weather Service tropical updates as well as the National Weather Service hazards and the forecast for our region. Is it hot enough for you? That's the question that I have for the eastern two-thirds, the mid-Atlantic, the northeast, the south, the upper Midwest have been baking the last few days with temperatures 90 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit with heat indices pushing 110 in some cases. Relief is on the way as the jet stream is situated to dip a little bit south later on this week, Wednesday, Thursday, so look forward to that. But in the meantime, we have this disturbance here that's south of Texas, Brownsville, and Corpus Christi, Texas, in northern Mexico. Only a 20% chance of development here through 48 hours and through the 7 days forecast period here, but it's forecast to go ahead and make its way inland in the next few hours. So the chances of it becoming an invest or a tropical depression or storm is very low. And as it gets over the high mountains of northern Mexico, there it's just going to fall apart. But heavy rain is going to continue in northern Mexico, northeastern Mexico, leading to localized flooding, of course, guys. So be mindful of that if you're in that local area. Elsewhere, everything else is clear with no hurricanes or tropical storm formations in the far Atlantic, the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, any of that. Eastern Pacific is looking the same way. No activity expected in the Central Pacific either the next 48 hours. Now, coming back closer to home, we just have a bunch of heat advisories. I mean, this central heat goes all the way from the mid-Mississippi Valley down to the Gulf Coast of Florida, up through the central spine of the Midwest and Tornado Alley there. So we have heat advisories in effect, and then we have a heat advisory in effect from the Carolinas, the Mid-Atlantic coast, all the way through the Chesapeake Valley, the Delaware Valley, Chesapeake Valley, Delmarva, up through the Northeast as well. And that's what's been going on. We have a tornado watch for some storms that are north of the boundary there. So this includes upstate New York, the Green and White Mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire, and of course Maine, and of course the Berkshires of Massachusetts and up down the Massachusetts Turnpike back toward Boston. And then we have a few in a little slither of northern Connecticut from Danbury over toward north of Hartford, and of course Rhode Island, Providence as well. So that's what we have going on as far as that. Heat and storms is what we have. Typical summertime pattern that we're experiencing here. Flood warnings watches continue in northern New Mexico along the Raton Pass there in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, just to the foothills of that. Be very careful if you're transcending that area there as well. And then we have red flag warning, of course, in the Pacific Northwest, east of the Dalles, east of I-80 in Portland, and those areas there in the central Willamette Valleys there, Washington and Oregon. Dry conditions lead to red flag warnings there. So that's what we have. And also look at the heat. We have temperatures 100 degrees Fahrenheit, 98 degrees Fahrenheit in Georgia, 98 degrees Fahrenheit in Washington, D.C. and Baltimore area, 92 in New York City, 92 in Hartford, Connecticut, 86 degrees in Boston, 100 degrees in DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth, huge hot day in 94 degrees and humid in Houston, 93 in New Orleans Fahrenheit, 106 in Phoenix right now and still climbing, 111 in Palm Springs, California. So temperatures are very hot everywhere, and you can, even in the mountains, the temperatures are hot in the Rockies, 80s, 70s, hot there, hot in Denver, 96 degrees Fahrenheit. So the only relief that we have here is up in the northern fringes of Maine, and of course the upper Great Lakes hanging on to some 80s and 70s there. Most people are in the 90s and 100 with the heat indices feeling quite hot. It's going to change. As like I said, we have that jet stream dip coming down, and about Wednesday or Thursday, it's going to dip down into the Adirondacks and southward into the Poconos of Pennsylvania, and that's going to provide some relief to us, bringing temperatures down to more normal range here. But the first heat wave hadn't been too bad. It lasted about 4 days here from Thursday to Sunday, extreme heat, and so that's been a pretty good heat wave for us there for those conditions. This has been your update for the Weather Guru podcast. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest interpretation of weather news in the lower 48 and sometimes beyond. Thank you for your support. I'll see you on the next episode.